Hello and welcome to my Nichi Japan vid. Today I want to talk to you about tests, especially tests in Japan, and especially tests that people take in their third year of high school. So if you didn't know this, to get into university, you need to take tests in Japan. I guess it's the same everywhere. You might have heard about the K-SAT and then the C-SAT, right? The Korean and the Chinese SATs. Well, Japan also has some tests. In Japan, it's actually currently called Kyote. In the past, I think it used to be called Senta Shikeng, which just means center. And so it's centralized, right? Senta Shikeng, and now it's called Kyote, which basically is the same. It's like a centralized test, which you need to take if you want to go, especially into public university. When is the test held? It's in January. So if you watch a lot of anime, you might, and especially about high schooler, especially in their third year, you might have seen them like preparing for test in January. And sometimes like it's so dramatic, it's snowing, so they might be late for the taste test. Pardon my poor pronunciation for the test, and they're just like running. Oh, the train is not running. Dad, take me to the test and everything. Like it's so dramatic, and it is. It does like affect their whole future, right? The test. So how about this test? Well, I did research on this few months ago. I think I still remember. So you have many subjects, and it's not like you have to take all the subjects. You just choose the one that the university you want to go to ask you for. For example, there are several math subject, I believe. So math one, math two, and then depend on what you want to take, you choose accordingly. And then for like social studies, you would have it would be like geography. I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong. I believe it's like geography and then social. So just uh, shakai is what? Like sociology, I guess. And then there's like one more thing which I can't recall. History, I guess. And then you would choose two out of three. And I believe you can choose like on the day. Like if you're like, oh, actually the geography is a bit too difficult, let me go to social. I've read that you can do that, but I'm not sure. Never actually took the test, right? So and then there's this Kyote. So you take it in January, and which is why if you've watched like also anime or read manga with where the second year and then they become third year and then they graduate from the club because they want to study. They've become Jukensei, the final form of high school students. Jukensei means like people who are test taking, so test takers, right? In Japan, well, you don't necessarily have to become a Jukensei. You can also do what's called shukatsu. Ooh, interesting topic to talk about, where you're looking for a job, right? So you can either look for a job or you can be a Jukensei. Jukensei is hard. You study, you do nothing but study. Study all day long, all night long. Just study and study and study and study. And this would start depending on how serious you are. Excuse me. But I guess you would become third year like in April, so fourth month, right? And then you might start around that. If you're still in club, I think anyway by summer you would already start like around August. You definitely would already start studying for the test, but most likely before that, especially if you're like aiming for Todai, which is like uh Tokyo University, the biggest one. I'm sure people aiming for Todai like start studying in their first year of high school. But everyone becomes, as you can say, in their third year. And so there's also this like radio show that I like, which like for second years, it's a radio show that's like for uh teens, basically, mostly high school. Not only also university student, but mostly high schooler and like junior high school people would tune in, and they would yell if they're in their second year, which means they don't have to take the test. They would yell freedom, which is so funny to me. Anyway, so there's the test, right? They prepare for it. It's like it's hard. It's very hard. It's really serious. It determines your future. They would be studying and studying until they're sick, and then they would take the test on January. This is 1 month, so January. And depending on the university, you might have to take a second test. So you'll get the result, and then you'll be like, oh, okay. Because you would need to take a second, I think, especially for public universities and maybe the good ones, but I'm not sure. Maybe most university it function this way. So I believe in February or March, you would take another test and you would look at your result, right? So if you want to apply to Todai and but you got like bad result, you're like, I think Todai maybe I won't be able to get into it. Let's try like Kyoto or Osaka. I don't know. If you like good score but not good enough. I don't know if like Kyoto or Osaka if you could get it if it's not good. But anyway, uh because the result will depend on how you do on both on the Kyoto and this, and they'll take like a certain percentage, X% and Y%, and then they'll just add that and it'll determine if you get in the university or not. So if you're like your first test is already like, okay, with this kind of score, I don't think I'm getting into Todai, even if I do very well on the second test. So you can opt out. Well, not opt out. You can like just choose and apply for a different university, and that's test in Japan. So the people studying are called Jukensei. The test right now is called Kyote, something like Kyotsu testo. Anyway, basically centralized test, right? It is centralized. It's held all over Japan at the same time, I believe. And yeah, everyone take kind of the same test, although the subject everyone's taking might be different depending on what the school you're aiming for is requiring, and the faculty as well, what you want to study. And then some university, I believe the Kyoto is enough, and some I think you need to take the second test. And if you don't pass, then you can just retake it the next year, in which case you become a Ronin. Ronin in the past used to be like samurai who didn't have a master, right? So they're still like practicing martial arts, um, and everything, but they don't really have a master. They were not like freelancers, if you would. And so this is what people call test takers who are on their second attempt because they don't belong to any university, although they're still studying. They don't even belong to high school, right? Yeah, that's it about like Japan's test, especially for like to go get into university. There are some tests to get into high school, I believe. I don't think there's a centralized one. You would have to test to the high school, uh, but there are also tests. So third year of junior high can also be challenging. Yeah, that's about it for today's video. See you in the next video.